Sorry about it.
No, as long as you're comfy, I don't mind. Just do your
I'm
thing.
good.
You know, that's all
All
good.
right.
All right, Miss Traveler, where's the best place you've been to?
Oh, wow. Jump right in. Best place?
Hmm.
I'm gonna say, so I have two places. Best place for culture and people, Jordan, the country of Jordan.
Hmm.
They're so kind, so sweet, so welcoming. And it's just like such a different culture that I just haven't been exposed to coming from the States. And I just felt like family. I was welcomed immediately there. And I felt like I was like in, and I didn't feel, like, oh, this American coming over and visiting. So I would say culturally and people wise, Jordan hands down. Location wise, Greece. I lived in
Hmm.
Greece for a month on the island of Paros, and it was absolute beautiful chaos.
Why
Usually, how we
chaos?
like you're in Greece interacting with Greeks. And I can say this because my family heritage is Italian Greek,
Yeah,
but like
I also
it's
know
organized
exactly what
chaos
you
over
mean.
there. Yeah. Anyone who's interacted with Greek people understand
Yeah,
organized chaos, but you love
yeah,
them to death because they're so like warming and welcoming and all that stuff. But you're just like, how did you how did you think that way? Why did you think that this was a good idea? And why are we taking 10 steps backwards to get one step ahead type mentality?
yeah.
So I really enjoyed like popping around to the different islands, and I was working the entire time. So I would like take my calls, run my course, and then go explore a new beach, go to a different island for a weekend, and just really engulf myself. And what I loved about living in Paros is that's an island where a lot of the locals go for vacation. I had no interest in going to Mykonos, no interest going to like the typical islands you go to that a lot of Americans travel to because I didn't want to go back to Little America. I wanted to go back to like where did the Greeks hang out? Where do like everyone else. So I really enjoyed exploring, and that's why I'm going back in September. In a couple of weeks, I'll be in Milos, Crete, and a girlfriend of mine. She runs a photography business over there, and she pretty much goes around through all the Greek islands for the summer and just does photo shoots. So she's like, "Hey, come
Wow,
on over." Yeah, she recently partnered with a yacht company in Milos for shoots. So
wow,
as a thank you, they give us complimentary chartered yachts. So she was like, "What do you do in September?" I'm like, "Whatever you're doing, I'm there."
wow. I might
Hmm.
actually know a gym on an island in Greece that you
Oh
might
yeah,
want to run a
what
workshop
island?
with. I can't remember. I remember doing a CrossFit level one
Okay.
with a cool chick Stella, and then she ended up making basically a no, I don't want to say a holiday gym, but it's basically a gym
Mm-hmm.
on a home island.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but part of the year it was kind of closed, part of the year it was open. That
Mm-hmm.
type of gig, I know they've ran quite a few seminars out of it. So yeah,
Oh,
maybe
sweet.
I can link you up when you're over there.
Yeah, let me know. There's someone that lives in Crete that wanted to link up starting a business, but I don't think she owns a gym. I know a lot of
Mm,
people in Athens, but
mm,
I'm gonna spend like one night in Athens and then I'm
mm.
jet into the islands.
I gotta write that down. I'm blonde, mate. I'm gonna forget it. See, we'll see. We'll see what she's doing these days. I know
Yeah,
she lives in
yeah.
London, like part London, part home.
Oh, cool. That's really
Um,
cool.
cool chick, awesome chick, cool,
Hmm.
cool what she's doing. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
there's something in the Mediterranean, right? Like it brings like your emotion out. It brings your hand gestures out. I think it's too much
Hmm.
olive oil, man. You know, eating
I
too
love
much
it.
olive oil, and the next thing you know, people get a little bit crazy. You know, they get a little bit too much sun. They don't know what winter is.
Yeah, I know. Last year I called my trip endless summer, and I basically chased the sun. So like when it started
Oh,
getting warm in Europe, I was hanging out there. As soon as it started getting cold in September, October, I went over to Jordan, Egypt, Middle East, and just
mm.
kept keeping in the summer months.
I think that's the way to do it. I really do. You know, like
Yeah.
it's weird, right? Like I grew up in a spot where it's grey 24/7, 365. There is zero sunlight, right? And it never used to affect me. I was like, all right, we just go to work, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you inevitably fill your plate too much as the years go on. You keep working, you get a little bit beat up. And I'm like, I need to see the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to just know it's there, get out in it a little bit, see the sea, feel the
Mm-hmm.
ocean, go up in the mountains. I'm like, I need fucking nature. I need to get
Yeah.
away from this city stuff. And it's
Oh
weird.
yeah.
Every year, it's like it hits me more and more and more. And I'm like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should chase summers.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely a science behind that. Like you hear of grounding, uh, kind of like, your bare feet on some type of greenery. It actually helps release certain like hormones that make you feel good. Exposing to sunlight, I mean, that whole seasonal affective disorder, that's a real thing. And some people are more affected than others. I know I am. Like when it's gray and gloomy outside, I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
Mm.
I'm just very, very unmotivated. As soon as it's like sunny, I don't even have plans. I'm like, I'm gonna do something. I'm just gonna be outside. I want to be outside. So it's definitely a thing. And that's why I could never, I thought about London, but just like you said, I'm like, oh, I don't think
Fuck
I would
that.
be happy. I don't think I would be happy there just by weather alone.
Yeah, that is the thing. Like the weather back home is shit, but also the cities are just so crazy. Like,
Hmm.
I used to work in London, right? I used to commute
Hmm.
about 90 minutes. I used to work in a city called
Wow.
Southampton and then also
Uh-huh.
would work in London. I'd do Southampton for like 4 days, Monday to Thursday, and then London Friday to Saturday mid afternoon. And I
Hmm.
would get there around 11 p.m., cruising into London, and people are just leaving the office.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
that's wild. That's not okay.
no. And you can bet your left testicle they're going to be there at 6 a.m. the next morning. It's like, where do
Wow.
you sleep?
Right. Might as well just have a little bed in the office.
100% sleep under the desk, right?
Yeah.
And it does get
Right.
you wondering, right? You're like, well, is this what we're supposed to be doing? Is this it? Is
Right.
this what life is? Are we just kind of
Right.
rats in a tube or ants in the hill and we're supposed to work for the man and, kind of turn the wheel? It's
Hmm.
it's it's real strange. It's real
Hmm.
strange. I think we're
Yeah.
gonna find that turning point, that little pivot
Hmm.
where more
You
people are gonna go
know,
online and be like, you know what, fuck this.
yeah, I'm really big on like pursuing that for sure. I mean, I did that last year. I had a full-on career prior. Well, I had two careers basically. I was working at the same time, but I was in that rat race where I worked in the emergency rooms in New York City. I'm also a physician assistant.
Wow.
So that was like my full-time job. And as a side, I was a trainer building business, not even realizing it, but I was so passionate about it, just what I wanted to do in my free time. And then the business got to a point where I couldn't keep up working full time in the ER and working full time in the business. And I remember there's this one pivotal moment. I was working in the ER, sitting there and looking at my colleagues. And like, mind you, like people like love like being a physician assistant, being a doctor, being a nurse, like that's a career within itself. And like it's great getting there and that's the end all be all. I remember sitting there, I'm like, this is not enough for me.
Yep.
Like there's no way for me to like move past, like get past like I'm gonna say get promoted, but like there's a ceiling when you're
Mm-hmm.
working for the man. There's a ceiling when you have a boss. And I'm definitely the personality where I'm like, I'm gonna be the boss. So, because when you have that, the sky's the limit. If you're a creative, if you're a go-getter, like that is a perfect combination for a good business owner, right? And I knew that about myself. So I'm like, if I could just create my own thing, then the sky's the limit and I can design, develop, adapt, adjust my business according to it to keep up with the growth to keep up with. And it really aligned with what I truly value in life. So I made the big jump, quit my ER job, which people are like, you worked so hard to get your degree. Mind you, I was practicing for 10 years. So I've been working in the ER for 10 years already. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
Mm.
So I made the big jump, quit my job last January and moved out of the city. And I was like, you know what? My business is online. I don't really know where I want to live. So I'm just going to book a one-way ticket to Europe and see what happens.
Fucking
And it was
legend.
yeah, it was literally the best thing that happened to me. Like it just opened up. There were so many times I would look around and be like, is this life? Like, is this life right now? Like,
Mm.
I'm taking a call in Croatia. Like, I'm at a beach club and running a course right now. You're gonna laugh at this. I became friends with one of the mountaineers in Kilimanjaro in
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get me to come on one of the hikes, which I do plan. I really want to hike Kilimanjaro. And the time I was planning on going was right when I was running my online course. And I teach at that time one live lecture a week. I was like, listen, man, like I can't go this time because I have to, like, I need Wi-Fi, I need service. A week later, he comes back to me and he was like, Sam, I bought a portable router so you can teach while you're hiking. And I'm like, I am not about to teach a lecture on the mountainside of Kilimanjaro. Like, this is wild, but like, that's the conversations I'm having. And I'm like, what is life right now? You
Did you
know?
do it?
I did not know.
Oh,
I should have. I was just too nervous because like I didn't want, God forbid, I didn't want the connection not to work.
yeah, yeah.
And like, I'm not able to teach this lecture, but I'm sure my students wouldn't have cared and probably thought it was epic that I was even on the mountainside of Kilimanjaro teaching a lecture.
That's badass.
Yeah, right. But I do
I,
have plans. We still keep in touch to do it, hopefully when I'm not running a course and just have planned vacation.
yeah, yeah. I love that, man. Like
Yeah.
one way tickets is the way
Mhm.
to go about it. It's the way I live my life. Like I don't buy return
Mhm.
tickets ever. Like I
Mhm.
pack my bag. I literally, if I didn't have all my podcast gear for in person, i.e., not just
Mhm.
this little thing here, like if I
Mhm.
didn't have an in person setup, I would have one bag and I could fit it all in a rucksack, and that'll be me, man. I'm
There you
good.
go.
See you later.
There you go. Mhm.
That's all you need. I think minimal is the way to go about it. I think
Mhm.
figuring out different twists and turns you can write into your own story is the best way. Let's
Mhm.
elongate this thing out, right? Rather than just race to the
Mhm.
finish line. The
Mhm.
finish line means it's over. I want to keep playing.
Mhm.
I don't know
Right.
about everybody else. It's like, aren't we supposed to
Right.
like stretch this out? Aren't we supposed to like figure it out somewhere else, go experience a different
Mhm.
culture, right? Which is why I love you for
Mhm.
saying Jordan. Like that's fucking epic. Like
Mhm.
from a hate to bring it up, but it's true. From a Western mind, you usually like, oh, West is best, right? And you're like, is it? It's
Mhm.
just because it's all you know. How do you know?
Mhm.
You don't.
Mhm.
So go over and find out. Maybe you come back and be like, actually, yeah, it is. You're like, great, that's your perspective. But a
Mhm.
lot of the time, I found like you end up sitting around a table with those folk, and you're like, oh, we have so many similarities. We are
Mhm.
so similar. We just
Mhm.
wanted to like live this thing, help people, have a good time, share a
Mhm.
coffee and a beer, like make people
Mhm.
smile and just kind of experience like love, and life.
Right.
Oh, okay. So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what we look like and where we've been and where we come from
Right.
and stuff. It is so
Right.
wild, and that's why it's called the nomadic podcast, and just a bit of a fucking wanderer, mate.
Yeah, I'm definitely am finding the happy medium. Because I would say prior I was such a planner and like needed to know what I'm going to do 5 years from now, and learned through life that you can plan all you want, but something like this can come up and change your life like that immediately, right? Like, I never thought I'd be traveling the world. I never thought that I would up and leave New York and run my own business. I didn't even think I was capable of running my own business. I thought I was going to be a PA and clinically practice for the rest of my year, for the rest of my life. And I started to realize and learn, I'm like, okay, it's cool to have like flexible plans or pencil plans, but things are going to change with this. And the biggest was booking that one-way ticket. And people are like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, I have a general plan, but I'm going to pop around Europe and kind of keep opportunities open. If I get an opportunity to go to Germany, I'll go to Germany, and that really helped me kind of like chill out a bit, chill out from like the super like OCD type A personality planning, you know. It was a really good life lesson for me. And now I feel like I'm in the middle point where I pretty much have like a general plan for the rest of the year, but I'm also open and like, well, whatever happens, I'll adjust and adapt. But I was like, I'll go down this path, and if something comes and redirects me, cool, you know? So I think it's a really good, comfortable, happy place to be in that specific mindset, you know? Because if you're too planned, too rigid, when something comes out and changes it, you're like out of whack and you're just like, I can't deal with this change. Or if you're too like go with the flow and all that stuff, what direction are you going in, right?
Yeah.
And so like having that happy medium, I found for me at least has been nice of like I have a general direction. I'm probably going to be swayed here and there as I go, but there's really not an end point. You know, the end point is continuing to find happiness, continuing to find joy and feeling purpose in life, you know. And where do you and how do you find purpose in life? That's what I try to strive for. It's like how do I how do I what's that word? How do I amplify amplify that?
So what is your purpose?
I just jumped myself right in there, didn't I? General, I would say my purpose is to help others. I definitely have that helping mentality with when I was working as a healthcare provider. And now I train and run the online courses to educate. It's always with the intention and heart to help, to take the skills and the gifts that I have and be
Mm,
able to spill that out to other people to help them in whatever aspect it is to increase their knowledge, increase their confidence, increase their strength, increase their health in general. So, like big umbrella term is to is to do that. And I always had a large mindset, global mindset,
mm,
meaning I want myself, the business, to um, to be able to expand and reach out to corners of the earth where maybe other people can't reach to. You know, like who says that they're running workshops in Jordan, you know? Not really much anyone, right? I know this because the gym I worked at, they're like, we never get Americans over here. We never really get people over here to teach, to give us something different. So I find myself really blessed that I have the opportunity and the means to be able to travel and to get to places to help. When I was younger, first graduated grad school, I traveled and did medical missions. So I was going
wow.
into the far corners of Africa. I was on the border of Lebanon, taking care of Syrian refugees when ISIS was attacking Syria. And like that was a different type of help. You know, I was giving medical help and trying to, you know, tend to, people that were truly in need. So I feel like there's not one specific purpose, but a general of like me just giving myself to other people in some way, some degree. And I have a lot of really cool skills that I can use it in medicine, use it in training, use it in business development. So yeah, I would say that's my purpose.
Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that's innate, or do you think you've learned it over the years? Do you think it's parental?
Um, I would say a combination. Like I always wanted to help. It's definitely a personality thing
Mm,
where it's almost at my detriment, where I always wanted to help others and sometimes at the expense of myself, which I'm learning and growing in that. But that's always been me since I
yeah,
was a little girl. And I also think that, my faith and what I believe in is kind of dives into that a little bit too, wanting to help others, wanting to give what you have to offer to others. So
yeah.
I think a combination between my innate personality and my faith that really kind of blends me and kind of folds and shapes me into that that idea and that concept. Yeah.
I'm fascinated on people's whys, right? It's my
Hmm.
favorite question to ask is just 3 letters long. Why, right? It's yeah, I hear a lot of people say they want to help people, right? And it's like, well, why do you want to do that? And usually it's that intrinsic feeling that they can't quite put the finger on it. It's like, well, I I kind of have to in a way,
Mm,
otherwise I'm going to get sick. Mentally I'm not going to be
mm,
good. Like I'm going to be a bit
mhm,
anxious, and then I've got to go do this. And I'm like, you know what? I understand that feeling, and I'm still trying to figure out
mm,
why. And
mhm,
I do believe that there are some folk out there that epigenetics out there. You want to use a spiritual term or whatever, it all leads to the
mhm,
same spot of like, no, no, this
mhm,
is an innate thing that we
mhm,
feel we are here to help other people, you know?
mhm,
And I think it's beautiful, mate. I really do. I think
mhm,
that's the way we keep this wheel turning, i.e., this world. Like synergy between people
mhm,
helps the world spin at the end of the day,
mhm,
like we you see somebody smile, you want to smile. You see somebody
mhm,
cry, you're like, shit, what happened? Are they okay?
mhm,
We get that
mhm,
little those feelings involved. I think we rely too much
mhm,
on verbal communication, which is ironic because we're obviously having a
mhm.
conversation, right? But we rely so heavily on it, and we don't connect with. All right, well, first of all, how do I feel, and second of all, how do you feel, and then is there
Mhm,
anything that connects between the two of us, three of us, four of us, five of us, the room, or not, and why?
mhm,
I think we need to take a little bit more of a step back of this
mhm,
technologically advanced, go digital, go fast. And he's like, yeah, we're
mhm,
losing the people aspect.
mhm. Absolutely. I mean, like, I definitely feel like we were made and designed to be relational, right? Like you're just saying, you see someone else smile, you smile. There's actually a neurochemical release that happens when you see someone else smiles that wants you to smile.
Mm.
Like, how do you, how does that happen, right? That was just like our design of how we were made as human beings, which I think is fascinating, like even like you're hearing crying, like there's different neurochemicals that gets released when you hear someone cry. Um, and what does that do? It causes you to be want to interact with that person or causes you want to, so it's always bringing you back to relationships, relational patterns, right? On the other hand, when someone is in solitary confinement or who's been isolated 5 years and they're by themselves and don't have that, what happens? They literally lose their mind, literally lose their mind because of that solitude, right? So it's like by those two examples alone, like we were not designed to be alone, right? So I think that's like, so you can take that into any aspect you want. So whether you want to help, whether you want to entertain, whether if you want to just be a connector of people, a networker, like there's so many different entities that you can go into. Personally, for me, is help. I like to help people and like to and do that. And that's my way of wanting to connect and have relationship. Or, I want to, you know, experience a memory. Oh, this is something actually personal experience from last year. So I traveled solo. It was about 8 months. And I met people along the way, but I realized that the places I was at alone, they weren't as beautiful. Like I was on the Greek islands, amazing, beautiful. People travel around the world to go there by myself. And I'm like, this is not as great. I wish I was experiencing it with someone, again, having that relational, experiencing moments, experiencing feelings, experiencing thoughts and stuff like that. And I think that's just, that I think I truly believe that is by our just human design as human beings, however we think how we were created, it's just in our DNA for sure.
Yeah, it certainly exaggerates that feeling, right? And it doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
have to be like a romantic relationship. Like you could have like a
Mm-hmm.
fucking stranger, right? And you're seeing a beautiful sunset, and you've pulled up on the beachfront, and somebody else has pulled up on the beachfront. You're just looking at this sunset, right? You look over, and you're like, it's kind of it's kind of good that they're like, yeah, that's fucking ace. That, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? You're like, man, it's just exaggerated.
Yeah.
I think we need to learn how to be on our own. I think we do,
Mm-hmm.
but as in like nobody else around. I think we feel alone the most in cities, because it is
Yeah.
so transactional and fast,
Hmm. Hmm.
and let me step on your toes to then like jump over you and leapfrog and bump shoulders. And like, dude, I'm not a
Right.
fucking lamppost. I'm a person. Um,
Right.
I think we
Right.
need to learn how to be on a totally on our own. But then, yeah, we need to like relearn that social aspect, mate. Like, I
Hmm.
work in gyms. I see so many people, and people are awkward. Like especially post COVID, man. Like they are so
Oh yeah.
awkward. I'm like, what's wrong
Hmm.
with you guys, man? Come on,
Hmm.
talk to each other.
Hmm.
Like you know each
Hmm.
other's names. Like ask each other how their mom's doing, or like how's your day been and stuff. Stop looking at your bloody
Right.
phone.
Right.
It's a
Right.
weird spot.
It really is. I definitely felt that. Remember the first time meeting up with friends after the whole COVID thing. I had social anxiety, which I'm not. I'm a big social person. I'm an extrovert, and I was still in New York, so I was in a taxi cab going to this dinner spot, and I was so anxious. I'm like, what do I talk about? What do I say? I don't know. Um, and it was like really weird. I was like, I can't imagine going through this for like years or being apart for so many years from the social interaction or just being in my phone all the time and not interacting. Like you lose that
Yeah,
ability to
yeah,
communicate. And like, and again, going back to like we're social beings, like we thrive off of interactions with others to a degree. You have introvert extroverts, and some people thrive off of 5 minutes and then they're good, and then being alone for the another 24 hours. Or you have the exact opposite, but it's still getting that fill in. So um yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about, like being in New York. I lived there for 10 years. It's so lonely. It
mm,
really was. Like you had, out of the 10 years, I would say I had maybe counting on my hand friends, like people I would truly call friends, right? Everyone else was transactions or in the fitness industry of how can I benefit from this relationship from a business standpoint.
yeah,
That's obviously not true friendship, and it fades as soon as something big happens to you or if you leave, you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Like you don't care about me. Oh, okay, got it. You care about my status. You care about what I can get you into or what gym I can. So it's unfortunate, but I would say the beauty of that is you can easily weed those people out. Just like, okay, I'm not about that. You're about that. So we don't vibe. So deuces,
sweet,
right?
yeah,
And you start attracting people that feel the same way or on that same wavelength. And those are the ones you hold on to.
100%, mate. You don't need 20
Hmm.
friends. You just need a couple of ride or die motherfuckers, and it's over. You know what I mean? It is
Exactly.
fucking over, mate. That's all you need.
Exactly.
Couple of them.
Hmm.
That's it.
Hmm.
Sam, this has been fucking
So
epic,
true.
mate. I really appreciate
Yeah.
your time. Maybe next time you're going to be in Europe, we have a conversation.
Yes, we'll see. I hope to be in Europe next summer. Euro summers are the best, man. So that's my plan.
Let's do it. And then maybe paths cross. We can share a coffee and talk shit some more in person.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate the time and opportunity as well, man.
Thank
It
you,
was
mate.
nice meeting you.
You too, mate. And travel safe. Have a great day, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later, mate. See you later, everybody.